Hey everybody, I'm back with another one of our story time videos. This is the second time we've done this, and we are talking today about this Tooth Fairy Scary Farm mask that I picked up a couple years ago now. So as we're doing this series, we're trying to just find ways to put some content out of things that maybe we would talk about in a podcast or things like that, but just kind of mini stories. We've got our talks with Ted Doherty, if you're a Scary Farm fan, which if you're watching this, you probably are. We're doing those every Thursday, so just trying to put some different content out there that's fun, different, and obviously doesn't rely on us actually going to a park or a convention, because that's clearly not happening right now. So please like and subscribe if you like just some content that is going to hopefully distract you a little bit in these weeks ahead, as we're all in this nationwide lockdown here as we're recording this. That said, this mask is one of my favorite things picked up from Scary Farm because it ties into a lot more than just the mask itself. 2014 was the first scare school at Knott's Berry Farm, for Scary Farm obviously, that we attended. And so that was the year that we had started Parks and Cons a year prior to that. And part of the whole goal of creating the site Parks and Cons was someday to be able to cover behind the scenes stuff at Scary Farm. So what better way than Scare School? We knew this was a thing that they did with their employees, with their haunt monsters, and always thought, oh man, that'd be so awesome to see if we could go to that someday. We knew Theme Park Adventure covered it, always would watch what content Rick had put out there and loved the photos and the videos, and just reading about Scare School, just kind of the idea of like, hey, haunt's not for another few weeks or month or whatever it would be, but there is cool stuff going on right now. I mean, in general, that's always been kind of one of my favorite things leading up to the season, is the idea that Halloween is being built all year round these days. And so the idea of being there with the monsters in the mazes and doing some Scare School sounded like an absolute blast. And so we went, we were invited. It was the last time they did a media viewing of Scare School. So we lucked out, like our first year for media at Knott's, where they brought some people behind the scenes. And so that one year they expanded it. Prior to that, it was very exclusive. I believe maybe it was only Rick with TPA. It was very exclusive, whatever. It was a very small audience. Then they expanded it for 1 year. They didn't like the results from that, I guess, and they never did it again, or at least they haven't done it up until this point. They've done some other behind the scenes stuff, but not Scare School. And so in getting to visit, we got to see the actors being trained. We got to see, it was really like a 4-hour event. We got to see them working inside the houses without their makeup or masks on. And we got to go behind the scenes and see wardrobe, makeup, masks. And so literally while we were in the behind the scenes, they allowed us to handle the mask. Not that this is the mask that I got to handle that night, but they allowed us to hold it and kind of hold it up for photos and things like that. And then we went on, and obviously the season came, and we really enjoyed Tooth Fairy. It's a great Daniel Miller maze, just his work we've always really loved. If you watched our show with Ted, you know Carmel picked it as one of her top all-time Scary Farm mazes. And so really enjoyed Tooth Fairy, loved its run there. It went to Great America. We saw that on its opening 2 years ago. Different version, but still a lot of fun. Just the whole premise of Tooth Fairy was a lot of fun. So after the season ended, when Tooth Fairy went away and then Dark Entities came, it was like I was really watching eBay to see if any of the props, masks, whatever showed up. And then sure enough, this came onto eBay. It was like 30 bucks or something. It wasn't like a super expensive thing. Obviously, it has been worn in some really sweaty, hot maze action there. So I realized all that. I disinfected it and put it on the shelf there. And this is actually the first time I've handled it in a long time. But I absolutely love that we have this piece of history, because although although Tooth Fairy didn't make like my all-time top 5 list, although it's one of the really good ones, that memory is definitely up there. That whole Scare School, I mean, it really was a moment where it's like, hey, like we're being respected and people like having us out to cover it. And that was kind of when more parks and conventions started to invite us out to cover things. And so there's a lot of things, confluence of stuff that happens all around that time. But can always trace it back to this one physical representation and the one picture of holding one of the Tooth Fairy masks, and now having this Tooth Fairy masks here as part of the collection. And for $30, it was something that I thought was a really awesome buy. So that's it for this quick little video talking about the mask. We will have more in this series. Again, please like and subscribe if you appreciate any of the work we're trying to do. It's hard for us to create content on YouTube in the off season, or not the off season, the weird season, I should say, because everything we're about is like taking what's in the park and bringing it to you in real time. And all of a sudden, there's no going in the park or there's no going to the convention. So we're looking for different ways to kind of take some of the either behind the scenes or fun stories or talking with people like Knott Scary Farm historian Ted Doherty or whatever we can come up with to bring some fun stuff to you. So with that being said, we'll wrap this up. We'll see you in line somewhere.